going to talk to you about waste. It happens that waste is my hobby, and it is a really weird hobby, but it's something that, yeah, I'm very passionate about, and little by little I've developed some skills around reducing waste. So I'm just going to share my own knowledge and my own personal experiences and my own journey. And so feel free to ask any questions. You can ask questions anytime, but at the end of the presentation, we're going to have about 5 minutes for Q&A. So um, I started the zero waste journey a few years ago. It has certainly taken, I'm going to say, probably 5 years to get where I am right now. And it was only 2 years ago that it occurred to me to gather a group of people together to have a bigger impact on what I was doing. And so that's when Durham Region Zero Waste Collective started. And this is just 100% a community group. We're not affiliated with any government organization or with any businesses or anything. And our goal is just to reduce our household waste for those who have businesses, reduce their carbon footprint, adopting a zero waste lifestyle. You will notice here that zero waste is quoted because it is an umbrella term, but really the goal is not getting to zero, and I'll expand on that. Why zero waste? Well, I'm sure you have heard about climate change. That is a reality we're living, and if we want to save ourselves from disasters, we need to do something about it right now. We're actually late doing something about it. Zero waste is also something that you can personally control. You can actually make changes in your lifestyle to control on a personal level the amount of garbage that you produce. And also, if all of us do something about it, the impact we have as a collective group it is greater than just one person. The habits that we adopt on a personal level influence the market, and it influences the economy. So I don't know if you've noticed that more and more people are moving towards reusable, towards sustainable, towards less waste, and that is a community-led movement. And then the last reason why I wanted to go zero waste is because I want to take my part of the responsibility and the contributions that I've had to climate change. For the longest time, I was not aware of the impact that I was having on climate change, especially living in a country that contributes a lot to climate change and that has affected other countries that are less responsible for it. So what's zero waste? I don't know if you guys have seen this image somewhere where some families have managed to produce only 1 jar of waste a year. Well, that is really not what zero waste is. Zero waste is not about achieving perfection and reducing your household or business waste by 100%. It's not about giving up plastics 100%. It's not about avoiding single-use items all the time, because sometimes it's just not possible. And it's also not about judging others or judging ourselves for people who have different ideas or practices, or ourselves when we cannot do something to avoid waste. Now, what zero waste really is just a personal commitment, something that you yourself want to practice, and you want to commit to change your habits to the best of your abilities, that will result in less waste and therefore a lower carbon footprint personally. I want to talk about local stats. This is the latest waste management report from Durham region reports that the total amount of garbage collected was 224,096 tons of waste. Now, what does this mean? The region has different diversion programs, so not everything is waste. There's diversion for organic material, for blue box recycling, for leaf and yard waste, and other diversion programs such as batteries or electronics and stuff like that. Now, I could not find the 2019 stats for the diversion from landfill, but this is the 2019 stats, and 78% of the garbage collected was diversion from landfill, and 22% ended up in landfill. Now, the reason I wanted to include this stat here is because in your specific case, for multi-residential households, it's actually the opposite. It's about 28% that is diversion from landfill, and the rest goes to landfill directly. And that is mainly caused by the lack of programs that allow to separate the garbage in residential units like yours. Now, a lot of people, when I talk about reducing waste, they immediately tell me that they recycle. That they, oh, I do a great job at recycling. Oh, don't worry about it. It's recyclable. It's okay. Don't worry about it. But even when the numbers seem relatively okay, you can see here all the solid blue boxes is the number of collected recycling material in tons, and then the white boxes is the marketed one. Now you can see that it is a lot of the recycling that gets marketed, and you can also see that the amount of marketed recycling material has reduced from 2018 to 2019. And the reason why is because in the past, our region used to export our garbage to other countries. Now that countries cannot manage garbage anymore, they are not accepting as much recycling material. They are very particular about the type of materials they receive. They need to be clean. They need to be almost new for them to accept the material. Otherwise, it ends up in their landfills, and they are also running out of space for garbage. That's why this number has been reduced here. So when people tell me, "Oh, don't worry about it, I recycle," it is almost like it doesn't mean anything to me that you do that. And therefore, one of the reasons that zero waste is better than recycling is because the number one R, I'm sure you have heard of the 3 R's: reduce, recycle, reuse. Now, for the zero waste movement, there's 5 R's, and the number one is refuse. What does that mean? It means I'm going to refuse waste from entering my home in the first place, because if I don't have to deal with that waste, I don't have to recycle it, I don't have to reuse it, I don't have to rot it, I don't have to reduce. So refuse is the number one principle in zero waste. Now, going back to recycling, why is recycling not as good as refusing waste if it's going to get recycled and turned into other materials? Well, I'm going to show you why. This is just the life cycle of one plastic bottle. These are all the steps that take into place to create one single plastic bottle. And just think about this. You need 3 liters of water to make 1 liter of bottled water. Now, the other reason why recycling is not great is because, I don't know if you know this, but you can only recycle material once. you actually downcycle material when you process it again, so it can only be reused once. So when people buy, let's say, a sweater that's made out of plastic bottles, that's the end of the life cycle of that material, because it cannot be used for anything ever again, and it's going to end up in a landfill. So if you also think about all the energy and all the carbon footprint in each of these steps to make one single water bottle, when you can avoid all of these steps by using your reusable bottle and just using tap water, if you are able to, why would you not do that instead of buying a plastic bottle? This picture here is an art installation from 20. It was from 2019. It was the region of Durham put it together for Waste Reduction Week. And this is only 1/3 of the total bottles collected in one day in Durham region. Every year, 8 million bottles are collected in Durham. That means 22,000 single-use plastic bottles per day are collected in Durham region. Where do they go? If they are recycled properly, if they are clean, if they are not contaminated with any other materials, they will get downcycled. But if they are contaminated or they are not recycled properly, they are going to end up in a landfill. Now, when people think about going zero waste and avoiding garbage and all of that, it is a little bit intimidating, but I want to give you some practical tips on how to take the leap. Now, this is a very personal experience. It's a very personal journey. Each of you is going to do this differently if you accept to take the leap. Now, the first thing is reflect on the amount and the kind of waste you produce. Most of us, the most garbage that we produce is in our kitchen. Now, okay, yeah, if you realize that it's the kitchen, make notes on what you think you can change and any alternatives to eat to reducing waste. Plan your habit changes. Do it one step at a time. You cannot change all your habits at once because it's very intimidating and it's harder. So plan your habit changes. Use what you already have. Don't throw everything out right away. Extend the life of what you already own. So reuse what you have. Take baby steps. Choose one habit at a time, and until you get used to that new habit, introduce a new habit. Be prepared. How many times have you been grocery shopping and you're like, oh, I have my reusable bags, but I left them at home? So be prepared, plan ahead, find the least worst alternative. So what do I mean by this? There are many alternatives out there, and we can always choose the least wasteful. I always use the example of, let's say I'm going to go out to grab lunch, and then I can go to McDonald's and get I don't know, a Happy Meal, whatever. Just think about the amount of waste that involves. It has a cup, and it has a little box for the hamburger, and it has the box for the fries, and a straw and a napkin and another bag where everything comes in. Whereas if I go and get a burrito, I just get their burrito wrapped in one paper sheet, right? So that is just a very simple example, just to show you how there is always a least worst alternative. And the other thing is, be kind to yourself and stick to your commitment. It takes time, it takes effort. Changing habits is not easy, so be kind to yourself. And then the last tip is ask. There's always people that you can ask. You can educate yourself, go on different websites, get a book, borrow a book from the library to learn about it. Ask other people who have already started the journey. Now, I want to talk to you about some very easy swaps. Now, my number one um, tip when you are doing swaps is use what we have, be creative. Don't go out and buy all these green environmental products. There's other alternatives that you can use. So I'm going to give you some examples. So grocery bags, you have plastic bags from no frills, reuse them until you cannot use them anymore. Don't throw them out and go and buy the nicest reusable bags. Just reuse them. Produce bags. I have a couple. I'm sure you've seen like the very fancy mesh ones that you can buy everywhere these days. You don't have to go and buy those. You can reuse your produce bags. This is a bag a friend of mine made me. This is actually a tea towel, and she just put a string on it. She saw it on the sides, and then she just put a string on it. And this is a dollar store towel. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Bulk items. Right now, it is very challenging to get bulk items. The most popular store for that is the bulk burn, and right now they are not accepting your own containers. But there are other alternatives. There are a couple of new stores in Durham region where you can get personal care products in bulk, and they are still accepting your own containers. And there are a couple in Toronto too that are more like grocery type of stores. For example, we go to this store in Toronto every, like, I don't know, 2-3 months, and then we stock up on stuff. We bring our own containers, we bring a bunch of them, and then we stock up on stuff. Another just a very simple swap is silicone baking sheet. I got this sheet at Canadian Tire for like $5, and I've had it for the longest time, and it was a good investment. The other thing is that people tend to think that zero waste is really expensive because all these green products and reusable products are super expensive. It doesn't have to be. We switched to cloth napkins a couple of years ago, and again, these are face cloths from the dollar store. Easy and simple. Ziploc bags. Another one that I like to recommend is, these are my Ziploc bags. These are freezer bags, and we reuse them until we can't anymore. But I don't ever buy Ziploc bags. So just some really quick tips for the kitchen, but there are many others. The idea is that you are resourceful and you're creative about what you have and what you can use. And when you are out shopping, think about that. If you have, for example, this coconut milk that I bought, I had the option of buying a cheaper plastic bag version, and I ended up buying this one because this is a little pouch that I can reuse. I can wash it and I can reuse it. And yeah, maybe it cost $1.50 more or something, but at the end, I'm going to reuse this little pouch until I can't anymore. Now, moving on to bathroom. Some really quick tips are, for example, plastic-free toilet paper. In Durham region, you can get it at Staples and you can get it at Wholesale, that store that's in Whitby, near all the car dealerships. You can get it's a little bit more expensive than your regular toilet paper, but it's plastic-free. A soap bar, that's old school, but this little soap bar, you can get these ones at the bulk barn for, I think, $2. I know that a lot of people make soap these days, and you can get really fancy soap bars for $5 each. it's up to you how you want to spend your money, but this is like $2. I don't think I've bought um, body wash in years. In years, this is a great alternative for me. A loofah. Most of us have a plastic one. I bought. This is my last piece that I bought, but I don't know if you've seen these. Like the piece is so big. I think it's like 2 feet, and I it probably was $5 in Chinatown. I caught 4 pieces of it, and this is my last piece. Toothbrush. Did you know that your first ever toothbrush that you used is still sitting in a landfill? That's because it's plastic. Now, if you switch to a bamboo alternative, um, it is a lot more sustainable. There are many, many, many options for this. I actually saw Colgate now has these uh, bamboo versions at the superstore, and they were, I think they were like $3, something like that. And then what I've done is also I've reused the little handles for gardening. I write like uh, the vegetable name, whatever plant, I reuse them. um, they are very lasting, I mean, depending on what kind you get. But you can find them everywhere now. Even at Winners you can get like packs of, I don't know, 5, 10 of these. Shampoo and conditioner. We have a couple of businesses in Durham region who are making their own shampoo and conditioner, and you can get it in bulk. Um, I can share the names of those businesses with you if you're interested. There's also the option of shampoo and conditioner bars, so similar to these, but it's shampoo and conditioner. They don't work for me for my own particular type of hair and pH and whatever. It doesn't work for me, but for a lot of people, they do. Cotton swabs. Um, that is something that I've swapped a long, long time ago. So I just had this. This actually I bought a long time ago at the dollar store, but my friend actually uh, crocheted a bunch for me. For those who are talented in that sense, you can always make a few. And then Q-tips. Q-tips, even if they are paper, like the stick is paper, um, the actual tip is not cotton only. It is a synthetic and cotton mix. So they are not compostable. They never ever throw them in the compost because they are not compostable. So what we use at home is we have this little stick. You can wash it, you can clean it, you can clean. Personally, I don't need it, but my partner did, and so we got it. But it is an alternative, and it's made out of wood as well. And apparently, this is very popular in Asia. I don't know. But there are many other things that you can swap in the bathroom. This is a reusable razor that I invested in. These are probably $30. Most of them are like $30, but really, this is going to last you a lifetime. You just have to buy the blades, and this is going to last you a lifetime. So yeah, a lot of the initial investment might seem expensive, but in the long run, you're going to be saving money too. And then on the go, easy swap. So freebies. When we go out to the grocery store or an event or something, they give us flyers, they give us samples, they give us pens, uh, buttons, you name it. Do we need it? Where is that going to end up? So refuse freebies. I put a sticker. I don't know how easy this would be for you guys, but I put a sticker on my mailbox and it says no flyers and newspapers because we were getting so much garbage. And our mail person is great at that, so we don't get that anymore. Um, Reusable coffee and tea mugs. It is very challenging these days with COVID, finding a coffee place that is going to accept your reusable mugs, but it only takes asking. I bring mine everywhere I go, and I ask, and if they say yeah, for sure, I'll take it. Awesome. If not, then well, that's it. It's more challenging these days with COVID. Napkin, you can bring your own napkin. Reusable bag, I always carry. I have this little kit that somebody gave me for my birthday. I was initially just carrying like my regular cutlery and stuff like that, but somebody gave me this for my birthday, and it has cutlery, and it has chopsticks and straws and all of that. And so I carry this with me all the time, and I bring a reusable bag because you never know when you're going to need one. And then plates and containers. I am that person that goes to the party and brings their own plate and their own cup and their own container. I am that person. That, like probably, I don't know, 8 out of 10 times you go to a social event and there's disposables. And that's fine. I mean, no judgment at all. But I know that by bringing my own plate and my own cup and my own container, I'm going to be reducing my own personal waste. And even if you see at the store, it's biodegradable, compostable plates and containers, most of the time they are not. And the reason is you need a very specific type of facility to break those down. So don't be fooled by that. There are many other swaps you can do around your house. I cannot begin to tell you all the things that we have changed here. And right now we are probably at one plastic, like a grocery size bag a month of waste. And we don't have a lot of recycling. Probably during COVID we have a bit more because we can't just go and get bulk items as easy, but it's still pretty low. And as I said, that has taken years, many years. So don't get frustrated, don't get intimidated, one step at a time. Some resources that you can get at the library. These two books are awesome. The Zero Waste Home one is a bit more for beginners, but both of them are awesome. And so we move into the question section.